Welcome. I'm here live with the LA fires update. And if you've been paying attention at all to what is happening in California right now, there is absolute devastation happening. But the crazy thing is it seems like people in higher levels of authority and government seem to have already known that this is going to happen. Matter of fact, I have a video right now that I'll be playing for you of Joe Rogan actually predicting this months ago, if not just about a year ago. And then we also have some comments from President Trump as well as from Gavin Newsom. And the whole thing is eerie, and it's absolutely crazy. We're praying for the people in California, but I wanted to come to you today with a live update of what is happening in California and show you the behind the scenes stuff. You know, a lot of the internet is down. Right now, Elon Musk had to go in there and drop Starlink so that the national broadcast associations are able to actually pick it up and bring reports to you and project the news. So let's get right into the Joe Rogan video. And I want to unpack for you what is happening.
One day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind and fire's going to start in the right place and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean. And there's not a thing we can do about it. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it.
Wow. So you can see, we're going to play it one more time, but you can see that Joe Rogan was already talking about the state of LA. And how he's been talking to people in the fire department that have said, basically, we've just gotten lucky up until this point, but it's a matter of time before these fires start burning through LA. You know, I'm from California. I got friends. I got family there. And I've heard a lot of stuff about how California is not well kept when it comes to brush and stuff. But really, the crazy thing to me, and I'm going to show you a video toward the end of this live stream, that many people are coming out and saying that they believe these fires have been set. That they don't think this is just a natural phenomenon. Not to mention, if you know anything about California, it's not wildfire season. We're in the middle of January. Wildfire season is during the summer. Keep that video up for me. Wildfire season is in the middle of summer. It's not in the middle of January. Wildfires don't happen in the middle of January in California. If you've been paying attention at all to what's been happening with the LA fires, let me know if you're watching live in the chat. What do you think is going on? And if you're watching this after it's posted, I'd like to know in the description or in the chat down below in the comments, tell me what you think. If you live in California, I want to see down in the comments what's going on. If you're in the fire or maybe you know somebody, tell me if there's anything suspicious that you've been seeing, because this whole thing is kind of strange. Matter of fact, it reminds me a lot of the fires that spontaneously occurred in Hawaii. So I'm going to play this again. I want you to listen to what Joe Rogan says about the fires that are happening in California. Roll it.
One day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind and fire's going to start in the right place and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean. And there's not a thing we can do about it. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it.
So that's what they're saying is happening right now, that the time of year and the weather is causing the wind to blow toward the coast, which is burning everything all the way up through the coast. I think I saw a clip of Malibu earlier where the houses on the beach, that they were actually burned to the ground, which obviously once you get to the ocean, the fire, it goes out. But literal beaches have been lit on fire. Beach houses have burned to the ground. So this is all pretty sus and pretty crazy. Let's see what Trump has to say about it and others. Next. This is from President Trump. Governor Gavin Newsom refused to sign the water restoration declaration put before him that would have allowed millions of gallons of water from excess rain and snowmelt from the north to flow daily into many parts of California, including the areas that are currently burning in a virtually apocalyptic way. He wanted to protect an essentially worthless fish called a smelt by giving it less water. It didn't work, but didn't care about the people of California. Now the ultimate price is being paid. I will demand that this incompetent governor allow beautiful, clean, fresh water to flow into California. He is to blame for this. On top of it all, no water for fire hydrants, not firefighting planes, a true disaster. I think he meant to say nor firefighting planes, a true disaster. This is one of the weird and eerie things that we're seeing right now about all of this. Not only have people been talking about this, but For some reason, a bill was put in front of Gavin Newsom, and he said no to save some fish, which actually stopped the flow of millions and millions, if not billions, of gallons of natural water to flow into Southern California to fill the fire hydrants and to make sure that there's plenty of irrigation throughout Southern California. One of the primary issues that they're running into right now with the California fires is that there's not enough water in the fire hydrants. And trust me, it gets crazier. We're going to get into it. Next. Here's President Trump 3 months ago on the famous Joe Rogan episode talking about how California refuses to build water reservoirs and manage their forests to prevent wildfire. So all of this has been talked about for months and months. And to me, I don't know what you think. Let me know in the chat. To me, what happened in New Orleans, what happened at the Trump Tower, you've got a bunch of crazy stuff happening in the U.S. And I'm going to show you a video that it looks like all these fires just spontaneously showed up at the same time in the middle of winter. This is sus to me. I don't know about you, but let me know in the chat. Let's roll this video.
They said, we have no water. I said, do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. I said, why don't you have no water? Because the water isn't allowed to flow down. It's got a natural flow from Canada all the way up north. Water, more water than they could ever use. And in order to protect a tiny little fish, the water up north gets routed into the Pacific Ocean. Millions and millions of gallons of water gets poured. I could have water for all of that land, water for your forests. You know, your forests are dry as a bone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Dangerous.
That water could be routed. You know, you could have everything. Oh, not only dangerous, billions of dollars a year they spend on forest fires. And, you know, there's a case with the environment. They're not allowed to rake their forests because you're not allowed to touch it. And all they have to do is clean their forest, meaning rake it up, get rid of the leaves, get rid of, leaves that are sitting there for 5 years. And
They'll certainly get rid of the dead fall.
And get rid of the trees that are fallen and that, are
Don't allow your state to sit there in a prepared way to burn down. Like, what are you thinking? So this is Trump and Joe talking about the terrible state of the forest and the national forest in California. I'm from California. I understand. I know it is a problem. And the problem is not in the fire departments. It's not in the national forest services. The problem is in the government. It's in the state and local governments because they won't allow these services to touch the forest and they don't keep it clean. They're for lack of better words, they're anal about it. They won't let you do anything about it. Next. April 2021, Gavin Newsom explains that wildfire preparedness will be better now that Biden is in office instead of Trump. Well, we are currently seeing how that is playing out. Roll it.
That's what's different now is we are committed as a team, as a partnership with the legislature and other state agencies, including now the federal government, no longer a sparring partner, but a working partner. Federal government, where we're not addressing headwinds, but tailwinds in terms of the support, a memorandum of understanding, doubling our respective commitments to vegetation management and forest management and prescribed burns to support the Biden administration with resources, not just rhetoric, to help this collective cause. It's a different paradigm. It's a different framework.
The Biden administration to support this with resources, not just with rhetoric. All right, how many billions of dollars did we send to Ukraine? And how many billions of dollars are we not sending to LA right now? Insane. Next.
If it is true that Gavin Newsom is the absolute blithering idiot that I believe he is in the way he has handled fire management in this state again and again and again and again.
I didn't say it.
This isn't a wake-up call. This is the kind of thing they have tribunals for, where they try people and say, you had an oath of office to perform certain duties. When you're the fire chief, this isn't a social justice exercise that you're in charge of. This is you getting water to areas that need water because there are fires in 100-mile-an-hour winds burning houses to the ground. I watched on a Ring camera a guy have to sit and watch his pet burn to death. Wow. You know, those things are issues of the heart when you watch a cherished little pet. Or, you know, look, my home is a building. It was we worked 3 years putting the home together. We loved our little.
He said he had to watch someone who sat there and watched their pet burn to death. I mean, our heart goes out to the people in California right now. This is no small thing. That is crazy. And I mean, I don't know if I've not heard of any deaths or casualties from this, but I mean, it sounds like people's pets. I mean, that's terrible. Continue. Oh, is that the end of that clip? All right, next one. LA Mayor Karen Bass and California Governor Gavin Newsom orchestrate a photo op in the ruins of Los Angeles that they're mostly responsible for creating. This appearance is extremely transparent, staged, and offensive. So you can see how they show up for a photo op, but neither of them have very reasonable comments anytime that they're asked about the state of all of this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you a clip where Newsom blames the locals for the lack of water in the fire hydrants. Mind-boggling. Next. Gavin Newsom removed a dam, which has resulted in less water for California to fight fires. He's responsible for the current wildfire catastrophe, allegedly, which is 0% contained because of his wokeness. Roll it.
Largest dam removal project in U.S. history and one of the most significant, if not the most significant, water restoration project, bringing back salmon and steelhead into this basin. This project could not have happened without extraordinary partnerships with tribal nations and, of course, our partners in the North and Oregon. We just finished a celebration with the Secretary of the Interior and our tribal council and tribal leaders, and I couldn't be more proud as a Californian, and I couldn't be more proud as a father, because my kids and their great-great-grandkids will have the opportunity to see something that, well, has been here since time immemorial, and it's about damn time we got this done.
Wow. So you can see how he's redirecting the water and got rid of that dam, and it's actually hurting us. And I just got a news update here. California wildfires leave 5 dead and $52 billion in ruins. Celebrities homeless, politicians slammed, and chaos reigns. I was talking to a friend this morning on FaceTime who lives down in Redlands, California, and he said something that I don't know if I entirely agree with, but there may be a point. He said, I don't really know about all this. I mean, he's a paramedic, and he was a firefighter for a while. He said he thinks that the news is just blowing it up because it's a bunch of celebrities' houses burning down. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think no matter what, this thing is at such grand scale that it'd be hard not to blow it up. But I don't know. It looks fishy to me. It looks very fishy. $52 billion in damage. I don't know. And I mean, this is like not, to the best of my knowledge, this has never happened before. It's a bit sus. Continue.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being up?
This is the mayor, and she has absolutely no comment regarding anything. And actually, this guy's pretty funny. We might play this more than once. Enjoy.
While their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up, please? Appreciate it.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
Start it over. Looking like an MC.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while they're...
So absent while the fires are taking place, which is whatever. Like if you're out of town, you're out of town. If you don't know something, but that's fine. But like then the massive budget, when it comes to budget cuts, not only is there massive budgets, you know, the fire chief is an LGBTQ, not to get into all this, but the fact that they put an LGBTQ fire chief simply just to promote a woke agenda versus someone who's actually qualified. And you could tell that they're not qualified because there's no water in the fire hydrants. There's no extra resources. Matter of fact, you're going to see, I don't even know if we have a clip on here or not. The LGBTQ fire chief gave all the extra resources to the Ukraine. I mean, like this is insane. It's basically just a fire version of North Carolina, where it's like, let's pump money and pump resources into every other nation that needs help. And then here we have LA burning to the ground and we don't have anything to help our own people. It's absolutely absurd. Roll it again from the beginning, though, because I like this guy's accent and he's kind of funny, the way he's hammering her with questions.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor?
Give this
Have
a
you
thumbs
nothing
up
to
and
say
share it if
today?
you would. Help us get the word out.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today?
I agree, Fred.
Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position?
Pause. Elon Musk says that you're one of the most famous men in the world says you are utterly incompetent. Are you considering resigning? Continue.
Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster?
Nothing. Pause. Like, you couldn't say, we're so sorry to hear about everyone that's going through it. Your house burned down. I know that there's no water in the fire hydrants. I am so terribly sorry. I wish there was something I could do. I'm praying for your family. I'm praying for, like, out of 1 million plus things you could have said. No comment? Not even one? Next. This is the fire chief, assistant chief, and training commander in Los Angeles Fire Department. Tell me this, don't you look at this picture and you just feel utterly safe? It reminds me of that picture when Alaskan Airlines finally announced that they had the first airplane ever built by all women. And I'm not a misogynist, so don't accuse me of it. But they were like, wow, we had the first airplane built by all women. Not because the women were the most qualified, just simply because they wanted to come out and say, we had a brand new airplane. It's the first airplane built by all women engineers. Aren't we proud? And you know what happened on the first flight? One of the panels flew off and it almost crashed and burned and killed everybody. So it's not an attack on women, but it's an attack on a woke agenda. If you're so focused on pushing a woke agenda, people tend to die. Next. Luckily, Los Angeles has its first female and LGBTQ fire chief. Hoorah. Next. State Farm, coincidentally, little sus, cancels 1,600 policies in Pacific Palisades last year because California wouldn't allow them to raise premiums to cover their exposure. Instead of fixing an immediate problem, Governor Newsom worked on Trump-proofing his state to protect illegal immigrants. Next. Reminder, and I want you to understand this because people are like, where are the firefighters? What's happening? We don't have enough firefighters. If you want to know where all the firefighters went, look at what happened 4 years ago. Reminder, hundreds of Los Angeles' top firefighters were terminated or suspended for refusing to take the jab. Now, as the city burns to the ground, LA's fire chief is complaining about a critical shortage of firefighters. Whose fault is that? Roll it.
After the worst time of COVID, after the largest, most deadly spike, downtrends in death, my employer, a governing body, is deciding to mandate a rushed vaccine. Not only that it will be mandate, but it's a condition of my employment. We've gone from essential frontline worker to next on the chopping block. I agree. Such times of uncertainty really force me to think and examine my surroundings. The job that I love, the job that I poured my heart and soul into is being threatened. Anything that gets put into my body is my choice. I refuse. I do not comply.
Next. California Insurer canceled policies months before Los Angeles wildfires. Next. State Farm, one of the biggest insurers in California, canceled hundreds of homeowners' policies last summer in Pacific Palisades, the same area which is now, coincidentally, being ravaged by a devastating wildfire. The move was justified by the company as an attempt to avoid, quote, financial failure as the frequency and severity of wildfires is growing in the Golden State, especially in at-risk zones. But as the multiple fires currently burning through Southern California threaten to cause devastating losses for residents, many will likely need to rely on their insurers to get back on their feet after the blazes are contained. Several private insurers have cut coverage in at-risk areas across California in the past 3 years, leaving homeowners scrambling to find options for coverage. As a result, California's FAIR plan, which works as an insurer of last resort in the state, has more than doubled its policies between 2020 and 2024, reaching a total of 452,000 as reported by Cap Radio. Most insurers have limited their offer in the state mentioned mentioned the rising wildfire risk as well as the state's regulations as the main reasons behind their decision. Unable to increase their premiums to a level that will match their growing risk, companies have decided instead to cut coverage. Next.
What is the situation with water? Obviously, in
Pause.
the Palisades ran out.
This is wonderful Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, blaming the locals for the fire hydrants not having any water in them, rather than taking responsibility for the fact that he didn't allow any water from the north to flow into the south. Roll it.
Last night in the hydrants, I was talking to the firefighter on this block. They left because there was no water in the hydrant here.
The local folks are trying to figure that out. I mean, just when you have a system that's not dissimilar to what we've seen in other extraordinarily large-scale fires, whether it be pipe, electricity, or whether it just be the complete overwhelm of the system. I mean, those hydrants are typical for 2 or 3 fires, maybe 1 fire. You have something at this scale, but again, that's got to be determined by the local.
It's got to be determined by the locals. The locals need to find out why there's not enough water in there. Don't worry about my stupid little fish. But next. Elon Musk steps in as LA burns. Starlink keeping emergency comms alive. SpaceX deploying free Starlink terminals to LA fire zones tomorrow as outages hit upwards of 400,000 homes. TV crews are already relying on Starlink for live coverage amid total cell blackout. Next.
Only reason that you're able to see us right now is because of a Starlink connection that we just got today. That's the only reason we're able to hear and communicate with you guys right now, because there's absolutely no cell service at all in this whole area.
Shout out Elon Musk coming back to save the day once again. Next. People are lighting fires. So not only are fires lit already, people are now lighting fires. If the first ones weren't initially lit, we don't really know. People are lighting fires in otherwise non-burning urban areas of LA. Saw this happen firsthand at 302 Pico in Santa Monica. Called it in and fire department and police responded. Stay safe and call in any activity ASAP. We don't need more flames out here. Next.
302 Pico, and people are lighting fires now. You can see they lit a fire. These guys, not all the people there, but some of those guys lit that fire, and they're actually... the trees caught fire, and then the palms are catching fire. So civilians are now lighting fires down in the so-called, flats around Santa Monica, Venice. So be safe out there. Fire department's been dispatched. We don't have enough water to put this thing out, but we're supposedly on the way.
Back to the caveman days. Ooh, fire. You fire, me fire. Let me start a dumpster fire. Next. Check out, pause. I don't know about you. I think this is a little bit sus. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. How strange that all 3 of these California wildfires seem to start at the same time. Coincidence or intentional? Roll it.
Feel the gentle breeze. The storm is coming.
See, this is a satellite view of all 3 of these locations simultaneously catching fire. Looks kind of planned to me. And then the next video is epic. We've got a hot water drop for you, just so you can see something that's satisfying. Roll the next video.
Back in the Palisades, and I understand that you have another structure burning behind you.
Coming to you again.
Do we have Chelsea?
So satisfying. She couldn't even respond.
In the meantime, that was a nice water drop that we just witnessed.
Yeah, I mean it's
It's like those clips where it's all the guys that are like watching that big boulder or whatever fall into a big body of water and splash. That's what this water drop is looking like. It's satisfying. Roll it one more time.
Back in the Palisades, and I understand that you have another structure burning behind you.
Coming to you again.
Boom.
Do we have Chelsea? Okay.
Fire.
In the meantime, that was a nice water drop that we just witnessed.
I wonder if you can get the monitor any louder. I might need you to pray for my ears. My goodness. All right, let's go back to the Joe Rogan clip at the beginning real quick. And we'll finish with this. And I just wanted to come with a live update. I might be back tomorrow doing another update on it because it's just a little sus and it kind of looks like what was happening in Hawaii. You know, it's just, there's too many unanswered questions and too many mishaps here. Like, this is all very strange to me. So I wanted to come live and report it. And if you know anyone in California, if you want to help get the word out, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, keep up to date with this, turn on your post notifications. I'm going to do my best to keep you up to date over the next few days with everything happening. But I want to roll this clip one more time of Joe Rogan talking about how about a year ago he had mentioned that this very scenario would be happening. Check this out real quick and then we'll wrap it up.
One day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind and fire's going to start in the right place and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean. And there's not a thing we can do about it. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it.
Pretty crazy. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, whatever platform, hit like, hit share, get the word out, let people know that we've got some live updates of what's going on, and we're going to do our best to reveal the truth and actually point out what the heck is happening in California. Join me tomorrow, and if you want to know any more about what is happening right now in the world and how this all ties into the Bible, many people don't understand that everything you're seeing right now, all the chaos in the world, the Bible, written over 2,000 years ago, has a lot to say about what you're seeing right now. It might shock you. So go check out the other videos on my channel. You'll be very glad that you did. Go ahead, turn on the post notifications, and I'll plan on being back potentially tomorrow with another update. And let's keep an eye on what's happening here. It's a little suspicious. If you know anything or you think that there's something that I should cover or I should add in tomorrow's stream, please drop it down in the comments below. I would like to know if there's anything I need to look into, and I'll plan on seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.